Hey everybody, it's your Sam and I'm here with another video. Today I want to go over some more species that are going to appear or have appeared in MISTS so far. Check out the first video or the first few videos describing MISTS, my Kindle Vella series, Makeover Institution Supplementing the Supernatural, and the link will be down below if you haven't started reading it yet, so make sure to check it out. At the end of this video there will be somewhat of a playlist about MISTS and some of my other works if you're interested in that. MISTS is set in the mountains of Appalachia around my hometown. Now I've taken a lot of liberties, of course, because I'm a writer and I'm allowed to do that. But for the most part, Moon-eyed people and Haints, which are two of the species that I'm going to be talking about, originated around the area where I grew up. They were talked about a lot, and I'm going to give you a little bit more about them. First off is Haint. Now, a Haint is a spirit or ghost, an evil entity of some sort. Most of the stories say that Haints are ghosts, and you're not necessarily supposed to say the word Haint. It's kind of like saying Bloody Mary 3 times. So if you're a little superstitious, I'm sorry. Haints originated with the Gullah Geechee people. They are descendants of African slaves. Most of the Gullah Geechee are found around the coastal areas of North and South Carolina, but some of them have moved inland a little bit, and of course a lot of their stories and legends and traditions have moved inland with them as well. Like I said, Haints are malicious ghosts or spirits, and a lot of the stories talk about them actually stealing or harming naughty children. So this may have been a way to keep kids behaved. The word Haint was first recorded in 1843, but it could have several different origins, like from the African tribes, but also there is a Welsh word that it could have originated from as well, meaning a malevolent spirit or something like that. Haints are interesting spirits, interesting creatures. And I'm taking the liberty of changing them just slightly from some of the original legends. My Haints have an actual physical body for the most part during the day, but then they are allowed to release their spirit form of a night. These beings are apparently distracted fairly easily. Some of the things to distract a Haint until the morning light, because that's one thing that they fear is sunlight, is to paste newspapers on the wall. Haints will stop and actually read the newspapers if they're pasted on the wall. That might be the reason why a lot of people started pasting newspapers on their windows as well. One, to help with the cold insulation of sorts. 2, also maybe to keep the Haints away. Another thing that most people might be familiar with, especially here in the South, is Haint blue. Haint blue is a specialized color. I know Sherwin-Williams actually sells Haint blue. It's kind of a soft blue-green color, and a lot of houses still here in the South have doors painted in that color, and a lot of porch ceilings and window frames painted in that color. Now, this blue-green tint, mostly blue, is said to thwart Haints, to protect the house from Haints entering or even harming the residents within said house. And honestly, before I really started studying Haints, I thought the blue color was for dirt daubers. At least that's what I was told. My great-grandmother had a porch that was painted blue, and she painted it blue so that dirt daubers wouldn't build their nests on the porch because they thought it was the sky. For the most part, it kind of worked because they built everywhere around the porch on the white stuff. Another thing that is common here in the South and is kind of spread a little bit are bottle trees. Bottle trees originated to capture evil spirits that traveled at night and hold them captive until daylight could destroy them within the bottles. And that's the reason why you see bottle trees around. It's not just to make it pretty, it serves a purpose, if you believe in that stuff. Now, another thing to keep Haints at bay is repetitive tasks, especially counting. In MISTS, Jack, one of my characters, mentions having some rice or sand grains kind of poured out in a box on the porches or around the building's doors. And what this does is it makes the Haints stop because they want to count every single grain of rice or every single grain of sand, even straws on a broom. Now, for those of you that have ever tried to count grains of rice, grains of sand, straws on a broom, you know that you lose count many times and you go back and you start again. That's the idea behind doing this to a Haint. Haints will lose count and have to start again, and sooner or later the sun is going to rise and they're going to have to run away, and they were distracted long enough from their hunt, from whatever they were going to harm, because of the counting. Haints are scary, but they're kind of comical in a way too because of their distraction. Another species is the moon-eyed people. There isn't much about moon-eyed people in the legends and all that good stuff. A lot of it is Cherokee and Creek in origin. These stories originate back way before the Pilgrims came and landed on North America, South America area. Moon-eyed people are a race of short, rounded-bodied, pale, blue-eyed people with beards. A lot of settlers and white men and people who heard the stories later often thought that it was pilgrims, the first vestiges of pilgrims that the Cherokee and Creek and all the natives in the area ran across, and they didn't know who they were, so they started calling them moon-eyed people. But that's not the case. These moon-eyed people were nocturnal. Their eyes were so big and so sensitive to light, they only came out in the dark. Some of the stories even say that the full moon harmed their eyes. They couldn't stand the light of a full moon. So I'm using the moon-eyed people in my story too. They've made a little bit of a show, and they're going to show up later on in the second and third season of MISTS. They are known to be builders. They've built walls, and these walls were to protect them from the Creek, who were their enemies because the Creek were battling them, running them out of the land. That's a little bit about the moon-eyed people and the Haints. Some more things that I'm going to have in MIST that I've already mentioned are witches and wizards. They are a bit more universal. A lot of my witches and wizards that are going to be in MIST and in the epic are going to be very in tune with nature. They use the power of nature and of the world and of the emotions around them in order to perform what needs to be performed at the time. So if it is a healing witch, then they use herbs, they use the wishes and power of the earth in order to heal the person that is before them or themselves. Some of them have tools that they use, gems, herbs, like I said before, but not a lot of mine have wands or staves or anything like that. Most of them use things of the earth that they haven't had to manipulate all that much in order to help others with. That's a little bit about witches and wizards. Another one is a smoke people, and Tura is one of my characters in MIST, and she is a smoke person. Now, how smoke people come around is they are spirits of wildflowers. Now, these wildfires are usually fairly devastating. They hit a lot of acres and all that good stuff, and smoke people are just spirits of these wildfires. Wildfires can be beneficial in a way, but they are still very harmful. So, depending on how that spirit is feeling, is how detrimental they can be or how healing they can be. Tora is a good mixture of both. She is a spirit of protection, and she is a spirit that has been nurtured into becoming a spirit of protection. So that is Tura. A little bit later, I'll be going over a couple more species that are going to make an appearance in MISTS. I'm not going to really spoil that for you. That's all I've got for you today. Again, check out MISTS. The link is down below. I greatly appreciate you reading my work. Let me know if you've ever heard of a haint or of a moon-eyed person, or even of a smoke person, if you want, down in the comments. Let me know the story that was behind it too. It'd be interesting to hear. Thank you for watching, and as always, be kind to one another out there. Be kind to yourself. Keep writing, keep being creative, and I'll see you next time.